Bezat HaShem, we're back in the Limud Torah Kedusha. Today at Ma'or Yitzchak. Today is the 6th day of the week, Friday of Parashat Shabbat Vayitzeh, the 5th day of the week of Chodesh Kislev. We're continuing in Sefer of Moshe Avram Yirat HaShem and Parashat Chayei Sarah. So the Rabbi says, since we approached the topic of the Akedah, the Rabbi says, I'm going to give you some hints alluding to the Geula in this whole element of Akedah. Since we approached the topic of sacrificing Yitzchak Avinu, Yitzchak our father, נאמר בסייעתא דשמיא רמז נפלא על שם יצחק המורה על גאולה האחרונה שבאחרית הימים. How he wants to say to us how the name Yitzchak itself, it's showing us the redemption that will approach, that will speedily approach us at the end of the days. כי שם יצחק מורה על צחוק ושמחה. We have to know that the name Yitzchak itself, it's obviously its translation means צחוק, laughter, ושמחה, and joy. וידוע שהרשעים תחילתן שלווה וצחוק. The Rashaim, the evil people, when they make plans to hurt people, especially hurt Jews, and they seem like they're successful, and they are prosperous, and they see a lot of greatness coming out. Like we said already, most of the pogroms in Europe were to alleviate them from the burden of debts that the most goyim had to the Jews, because that was the only business that allowed many Jews to be done in Europe. Unlike in the Middle Eastern countries where we had the mindset of business, importing, exporting, bringing rugs, whatever. But the European countries, the Jews did not have this privilege. They were prohibited from doing any work. So the goyim, they decided to get rid of the debts by having pogroms, attacking the Jews. Oh, they were so happy. Imagine on the day when the guy killed the owner of his 100,000 golden coins debt. Wow, he's so happy, right? בסופן ייסורין במיוחד על הגויים. In the end, there will be so much suffering for that, for harming Jews. ובצדיקים במיוחד על כל עם ישראל תחילתן ייסורין בגלות. Especially, what about us? We have in our nation righteous people, and many righteous people, most of the righteous people, they go through suffering. בסופן באחרית הימים צחוק ושמחה. The Jewish people are going through Gehinnom, excuse my expression, hell on this earth. They're suffering wherever they go. Here in America, we think there's a justice system. Take, for instance, Rav Shlomo Rubashkin. What could be a more prevalent case than that? Where the crime that he has committed, he was accused of a million different crimes. And most of the Jews, by the way, in Lakewood, there was recent arrests in New Jersey. I don't know, 7-8 years ago, there was a noise. Lakewood, Rabbonim, this, that, there's so much noise, and in the end there was nothing. It's all fake. Baruch Hashem. But some zealous agents, they want to take it out on the Jews. The zealous judge in Shlomo Rubashkin case, that was a white collar crime, if anything. And even the banks that gave the loan to Shlomo Rubashkin testified in court. I mean, there is no reason why he should be punished to go to jail. The most a person was punished for such a crime, with full intentions, with evil plans of not repaying the debts, 24 months to 27 months. What does the Goya did, this evil judge? She saw a Jew. What kind of Jew are we talking about? We're talking about a Jew who basically ran the whole, almost the entire economy of that city, of that town, with his business accused of his business billions of dollars. No, he did a crime. He's gonna do the time. He was accused of a million different things. In the end, they caught him on one contract on the loan. It was not 100%. Not that he was intentionally to steal. God forbid. The courts, the banks know that he was not stealing from them. It was just the way to get the loan. You have to phrase it in a certain way that the government regulations are more stringent in big loans. And in his case, they had to, which by the way, everybody in that field does, has to use that word because the government is pushing you for that. And unfortunately, he fell to the trap. And yes, it was somewhat. Just because everybody does it doesn't justify. We're not here to justify it. God forbid. We're not here to justify any crime. But that was part of the business. The whole world is doing it here. So are you going to blame a Jew doing the same thing as everybody else? And a goy who does this with the intention not to pay, the most ever, a non-Jew set in jail 24 months for that crime. That exact crime. This judge went ahead, sentenced Rabbi Rubashkin for 27 years. Zero, with all the recommendation. How far went? That even the district attorney wrote a letter to the judge. We need him to be released earlier. No. That's what Rasha Goy is. What about, why are we going so far? What about Mr. What's his name? No, he was just sent to Israel. The spy, accused spy from Israel. Zohar.
Yeah.
What's the spy's name? No?
I don't know.
It's in my tongue. No. The spy that was in the 80s from Israel. Something with a G, something, I forgot. Okay, anyway. Same thing. What?
I don't read the news much.
What?
I don't read the news much.
Right. No, this was an Israeli spy. It was in the middle of in the 1980s. There are spies in America, Chinese, that had caused CIA agents to be murdered left and right. All types of spies to be murdered from America. Chinese spies that were caught that caused the death in the spy system world. They were released to they were exiled to their countries. That was the punishment. This Jew sat in jail for 30-something years, because he's a Jew. And the judge said, I'm not going to let him go. These Jews get away with everything, you know? You know that statement? So the rabbi says here, you have to know, the Goyim are planning to harm us in any way possible. And in the end, the Jews will be rejoicing. We will, you know what they say he who laughs last really laughs. What do we say tonight on Shabbat? We're going to sing the song to our wives. That, you know, dear wife, we say to her that most women outside are, they're just busy for themselves, for their own pleasure. What will I get out of it? And a woman in the Jewish home, she prepares Shabbat. She wants to hear the Kiddush. She wants her husband to come home, even if he's not learning the whole day the Torah. She wants him to come home and to sanctify Shabbat, make Kiddush, and make Shabbat holy. And Mamash rejoice. But all the food is only there for one thing, just to make you happy, to make the occasion to be more elevated. And that's what a Jewish wife wants. She wants the Mamash holiness of Shabbat permeating. The husband went to shul, came back, the children singing kiddush. The next morning, the same thing, elevation, 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 elevation. And we were saying it to the woman, this is, ותצחק ליום אחרון, תזכו למצוות, אתה נשאר?
לא, כי יש לי, לא.
לא, עכשיו מביאים לך, אתה רוצה לעשות אצלי בבית, חלה שם מוכנה בשבילך.
כן?
או יביאו לך.
אני חייב ללכת
אין בעיה, אין בעיה. מתי בבית שלך מישהו יהיה?
אני לא יודע, אשתי כל היום צריכה להיות בבית, אבל אני צריך להביא את הילדים.
איזה שעה זה?
2.
אוקיי, לפני זה, לא גם בעיה.
כאילו, 12.
אתה תהנה בעזרת השם.
שיגיד, רק תדבר איתי. אני יכול לפתוח לה גם בבית אם אף אחד לא בבית.
אין בעיה.
תשים את זה בפנים וזהו.
אין בעיה. שבת שלום. So anyway, we're saying to our wives, we're singing, ותצחק ליום אחרון. That yes, it is suffering. We don't have, you know, Baruch Hashem, especially by the Jews, we have this element that we always need something. we always, you know, there's always a need, and there's, you know, like they say, there's not enough. Because the reason why we have that is because we want to do more mitzvot. We have this urge to do more and more and more. So the more we have, the more we can do. That's the way the Jewish people are. So we tell our wives, we're singing it tonight, you're going to be rejoicing. וזה לכל יחיד ויחיד בפרטות, וגם על הכלל נאמר באחרית הימים, אז ימלא צחוק פינו. This is, we have to understand, not, even though we're singing to our wives and at night, we're rejoicing, very nice, but it's not only individual, it's for every, so it's not only for the whole Am Israel, there's going to be big rejoicing when the Mashiach coming. It's going to be every Jew by himself. And the level of the rejoicing will be as much as the level of suffering that a person went through his life. So, as we know, the famous story that a person goes to Shamayim, and the only reason, and what happened was that his scale became leveled, mostly primarily because of all the suffering that they put on the scale. You know, his avirot was outweighing. When they started accumulating all his suffering, the scale became even. So the judgment was that he has to go back to this earth to reborn again. He has to have a little bit more suffering. As we know, the baby, when they get born, they cry because they're suffering. It's painful. So the person turned to HaShem in the court, and he says to HaShem, Hashem, why didn't you give me more suffering? Had I had a little bit more suffering, I would have been already elevated to the level that I don't have to suffer anymore. So B'ezrat Hashem, yes, suffering is hurtful, but we have to understand it's for us, for our benefit, and we only grow through it. And B'ezrat Hashem, there's much more discussion about it. B'ezrat Hashem will continue next week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.